Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, science nase. Doctor nase and anyway na. And then no. Yeah, best Sakara nakakra. Yeah, be poto. Yeah, the tree na your queen anima and this and that. Yeah, Baba share kwan be fa so a. Or my Ghana bet me afa n'intuma prefer ni titru ani emebunu a ewomu. Enti na ye ba be di nkomo na nyame adaroma. Yensa kan 2008 no ye vice presidential candidate 2012 or by presidential candidate o fi ha na be di nkomo o yo bi a youth no hu hia na pa Dr. Abu Sakara Foster e wo fi ha ye na ni di nkomo no ye be poto se de be ya bibia betimi akonkan. Doc, you are welcome to Homebase TV.
Thank you very much.
You hu wache. Okay, Samson ye wo Albert Kobina Mensah ono nso CEO edema Sepsa Africa or a PhD student e wo Germany ono nso ka ho a ye ba be di sa enkomo no. You are welcome, Mensah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Until you better than Kasaro, now you're listening and Yama. But basically, can you tell us about SEPSA? And that is Albert. I'll begin with you. Can you tell us a little about SEPSA Africa?
Okay, so SEPSA Africa, the full meaning of SEPSA Africa is Center for Better Society Advocacy and Research Africa.
Oh, okay.
We believe that we have two societies, and we have one society that is very dilapidated, and because that society accepts bribes, it's very corrupt, and so children are unhappy and things are falling apart in that particular society. Then there's another society where children are happy, the economy is booming, water is flowing, and everything seems to be working good. It is because that society had blocked corruption, and that the money that was supposed to leach out or misappropriately had been used for the benefit of the society. So we are there to train new crop of leaders who are capable of coming up and to create that society that says no to corruption in any form. Okay. And that society that me and you will be happy in it, and we can call it home.
Okay, so is it a global society, or it is for Ghanaians, or it's for only Africans?
Yeah, I am an African, and I'm a Ghanaian, so though I'm a global person, but I always try to place Ghana first in all what I do. So SEPSA Africa is I founded it, and it's in Ghana, but we also have SEPSA Africa, Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
so for how long have you been in existence?
It was SEPSA Africa has been in existence since February 2018.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So can you share with us some of the achievements now?
So far, SEPSA Africa had focused on public lectures in various universities, because our major aim is to train new crop of leaders, and where you can train those new crop of leaders are the pre-tertiary and the tertiary. So we've done a couple of public lectures. We've done some in Winneba. We are also going to Cape Coast with Dr. Abu Sakara in next week Saturday.
Okay.
And to also do another public lecture. We believe in dialogue, and we believe that talking to the people can listen, and we carry a message that people can one day buy into it, and we can all come together and create a prosperous society. There was a time where I led a campaign. I led a campaign to write a petition to change the lifespan of the Ghanaian passport from 5 years to 10 years, and that petition received positive feedback.
Okay.
And that the lifespan of the Ghanaian passport, which used to be 5 years, now is 10 years.
All right.
So we are on, and we are making strides. And
okay. So basically, you are for the betterment of the African youth. All right. Let's quickly talk to a known face in Ghanaian political dispensation, Dr. Abu Sakara. Why are you interested in such an agenda? But we are for national interest movement. Can you also tell us what you are up to?
Well, it is precisely because what they are doing coincides with the objectives of the national interest movement.
Okay.
The youth are about the present, and the future. The national interest movement was formed particularly because we're concerned about the path that we're on, and we want to correct that for the future.
Okay.
Now, when I say this, I mean that the discourse, as you and I know, the public discourse, the political discourse in Ghana, in our fourth republic, under this democracy, has come to a stage where truth is not what is important. Even truth has a party. It belongs to either NDC or NPP. And there's a whole generation of youth who have grown up watching programs, listening to radio programs, watching behavior of the adults. That's how youth learn. They watch, they observe, they imbibe, and then they act. They have adopted these accepted practices where, you know, if you did something bad and I did something slightly worse, you know, then you're better than me. So we're principle of what we call the lowest common denominator. That's if you divide the amount by a lower common denominator, then you get a bigger figure, so you're better off. But a society cannot be built on the lowest common denominator. And that is why the national interest is saying that no, let us reassess ourselves. Let us find out the things that are keeping us from becoming or achieving our full potential as Ghanaians and as a nation. Let's be honest. That is why some of us have taken some time out to talk to so many people, different walkways in Ghana, to find out what is it that has kept us from becoming who we want to be.
Okay.
That glorious vision that we had of Ghana, what stopped us? Let's be honest. These are the things we've analyzed under the national interest movement and categorized them and decided that no, we have to form this organization to deal with what is in the national interest.
Okay.
Not
So
the
can
partisan
somebody
interest.
say it is a youth-oriented movement?
Well, I will say that the youth have more to gain from it than those of us who are older, because we're talking about a systems change, and that systems change is going to impact on their lives. It will lift their horizons so that they can achieve their full potential. And the reason we're saying this is because we have all seen the impact that has been made. Anybody who begins for the sake of their political agenda to rubbish Ghana and say we have not achieved anything, that person needs to check themselves.
Okay.
We have made some achievements. We're on the road, but we keep going round and round and roundabout instead of taking the correct way out. And that correct way out, we have to accept some fundamental things that all nations have accepted.
Okay.
And-
Doc, before you land
Yes.
on that matter, but do you think our current crop of leaders can augment such a move, looking at what is happening in Ghana?
Well, the truth of the matter is that when you are part of a system and you're thinking within the limitations of the system and you're bound by the dictates of the system, it is very difficult for you to change it. You will only get those who are outside of the system who can see what is going wrong and say, well, if we do A, B, C, and D together, we can change the system. And that is why the national interest movement has identified some concrete issues that relate to our constitution. See, the foundation of the nation is the constitution. And the constitution sets the parameters within which we operate. If you put meat in pepper soup, it will taste like pepper soup meat.
Yeah.
If you put it in okra soup, it will taste something different. The system that we have developed from our constitution itself has some fundamental flaws.
Okay.
So we have to correct those. We have to deal with the issue of winner takes all. In other words, change the electoral system so that after voting, we have opportunity to form coalitions.
Okay.
We don't need to vote again for somebody to say, I won by one vote, and therefore everything is mine.
Yeah.
The rest of you sit down until it is your turn. That does not bring the synergies that we need in development.
All right.
We need to look at meritocracy. We want people to be in the right places because they are qualified to be there. They have earned it. Yeah. And if we have that system of meritocracy, you find people are contributing more. They are not afraid to do their jobs because they don't belong to party A or party B, and they may be sacked. We need to have inclusion of a broader area of the society so that we're working with both hands. We're not working only with one hand for 4 years and then you work with the other hand for 4 years. The hands are made to work together.
Okay.
We need to have integrity in the
Right.
system.
So, Doc, do you see this possible in the shortest possible time, or it's going to take us like 20, 25 years? Do you see it materialize in the next few years?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the youth who are not vocal are clamoring for change.
Yes. You see, the fact of the matter is that all changes begin at a certain point. They may not end as quickly as you want it to end. But the beginning point, you also cannot dictate when it begins. Now we have a lot of frustration amongst our youth. They don't see their way out. A lot of people are dissatisfied. They're even doubting the democratic system itself. You have up to 40% predicted not to want to vote in the next election. That is exactly a vote of no confidence in a democracy. And we cannot allow that. We have to give them a reason to vote. And we have to give them a renewed confidence in the democracy that we are running. But we have to redefine that democracy in a way that works for everybody, not for a few at the expense of the many. And that brings us to the topic that we're discussing, prosperity for all and not a few. And that prosperity cannot come one day later than now. But we know it is a journey that we begin by putting certain things in place. So the changes we need to make, we need to have a mandate to do that. So you, me, and everybody who believes in that change agenda have to come together in the election and force the issue so that those issues, that subject of the system's change, becomes the number one thing. It is not about planning. It is not about Mensah. It's not about Atuba. It is not about NDC. It is not about MPP. It is about the system's change for all of us.
All right. Doc, I'll come back to you later so that we'll look at the effects of corruption and moving forward how we can fight that canker as well. But Albert, what are some of the specific matters you will be addressing that is related to the youth?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think our great doctor had spelled out certain things that are touching, and those are some things that I've also outlined in my book as the founder of South Africa.
Okay.
Something which I call commucracy, something which I call provisional democracy, and I am of the view that the whole 4-year period given to people who come or who win elections, I am of the view that now, when you go to the university, when students fail in examination, what happens? They are repeated. You don't have to promote them. But we had political parties, we had leaders who had failed this nation. And yet, because people pay allegiance to political parties, they still go to the ballot box and vote for that individual because he says there's no other choice, or because that is where his mother or his father belongs. You know, and that is something that a stereotype that we need to demystify. We need to, something that I call the provisional democracy is that we need to set up a system where a minister, an MP, a president role is put on probation throughout the 4-year period. Now, you need to submit something we call progress report with timelines, what you have achieved within this period.
But don't we do this?
You know, let me build my point.
Because this current government, we have the Minister for Innovation, the Minister for Planning, the monitoring. So,
yes.
So we have
but
ministries who are to do all these things.
So
but we don't get the outcome.
Yeah.
needed.
So the point, it is because we had allowed it. It is because we don't hold the leaders accountable. So what I am trying to advocate is that set up timelines. Let a minister within or any person who is holding a public office within specified period, just as someone is put on scholarship. Now, when you are on scholarship, you are not on scholarship automatically. Your scholarship is probational throughout the period which you are given to do your program, and that at every point in time you are supposed to apply for extension. And before you get granted for your extension, that means you made progress, and the progress actually merited that you need to be given the extension. And that is what we need to do to our political leaders. Okay. So, if it is about water resources, this is what you have done to solve water pollution in say Pristia, in say Takwa, in say Obuasi. Okay, this is what you have achieved. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you have achieved that, then that means that you need to be given the mandate to carry along. Mm-hmm. But when we check against some benchmarks, you realize that you have failed in water resources or management, you have failed in agriculture, you have failed in mining.
And do you think the ordinary Ghanaian has that laxity to be monitoring, looking at our system, to be monitoring and the MP? Because what the person needs is that I'll come to the MP, I need some small cash. You are sorted out, and the person is gone.
That is why Professor was making a point, and I call it the comicracy. I am of the opinion that we need to come together as one at the end of every election. If it is about MPP, if it's about NDC, if it's about CPP, if it's about PPP, when election period or when the electionary period is over, then we need to stop politicking of national issues. We form a coalition. You come here based on the percentage a party received in parliament. We form a coalition. We come together with purpose of solving societal problems and turning this nation around. I have always advocated that a problem that confronts society needs not to become repetitive. Accra continues to flood. Circuit continues to flood every 3rd June or every June. Now, as a leader, the moment that flood occurs another year, okay, that means the leader had failed. A problem needs not become repetitive. When a problem erupts, we make concerted effort to stop that problem.
All right, let me go to Dr. Abu Sakara. He has been in the political terrain, and I know our politicians, they know all these things. Mm-hmm. So, Doc, what is really the problem?
Yeah, I think when we are talking about a systems change, it is not just those individual things related to governance, etc. It has also to do with our planning for development. Okay. You know, for a long time now, we have resisted the adoption of a national development plan. Why? Because this person will say,
the commission or the authority that caters for that aspect is just there.
It's there, it's doing the plans all right, but
it is not working.
I have my manifesto. So when I win, I'm coming with my manifesto. And then when he wins, he's coming with his manifesto. But if that is the basis for planning, how far can we get? At the end of the day, what we need is to understand that first and foremost, you're a developing country. You're not a developed country. And a developing country means that there's some basic things that you must do. If you're building a house, you don't start talking about how you furnish the master bedroom and the tiles, etc., if there's no foundation. So you have to lay a strong foundation. And that strong foundation is usually the National Development Plan. And you execute the parts of it that give you a framework for the development of those other things. But here's a case in point where somebody comes and says, no, I want to put pink windows. So I'm going to judge myself by the number of pink windows. But where are the walls for you to put the pink windows? So these are the issues that he's talking about. They're not coming out maybe in the way we should be analyzing them. But the fact of the matter is that the political organs decide what they are going to do for the nation. And if I manage to do them, you should clap for me. Whether they are the things you need
or not,
or whether they're the things the country needs at that particular time is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is you voted for me, and therefore I'm going to do this. Now the question will come, but why did you vote for him if you knew he was going to do those things and they are not in agreement with them? Well, the fact of the matter is that there are very few people who actually look at that manifesto and vote for the person. Why? Because we are a 21st century democracy, or trying to be a 21st century democracy, in a society that has not had an industrial revolution. All the democracies we are trying to copy have had an industrial revolution. The effect of an industrial revolution is to reorganize the society, to detach the society from their tribes and clans, put them in the modern society where time and results are important, and you see that their attitudes change. Why is it that the same Ghanaian who doesn't do A, B, C, D, E here, when he goes to London, he's able to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, catch the train at this time, go to work, put in the full hours, they even go to a second job. He's in the system that has evolved from that kind of society. We have not had that evolution of that kind of society.
And do you think we have that mindset, that leadership,
so therefore,
that can do that radical change?
Therefore, there is a gap between the reality and what we wish for, okay? And that is why we have a situation where I can come to implement my manifesto, but the background for it, the cohesion of the society, the understanding of the society, of how that is relevant in terms of our total needs, is not there. So we end up doing what we want to do and we go away. What we're saying is, let's stop this. We know you want power, but somebody will get power. But let's put the national interest first. Let us recognize that this is the kind of society we're dealing with. Let us recognize that we need to make A, B, C, D changes in our constitution to protect ourselves from our own excesses, to ensure that our efforts bring returns to investment, and to ensure that everybody sees clearly, transparently, that there's meritocracy and inclusion in the system. When those things are there, everybody will push. Nobody is going to push a troco from the lorry park to point X if his luggage is not on it. Are you with me? If his luggage is on it and you're pushing, and when you get to his house, he can take his off, you push. But if you say they should push only to your house, that one is a different ballgame.
Sadly, our time is up. But Doc, can you, in your last words, maybe advice to the youth, because I know all these things are geared towards the youth, so that we can have that radical change, so that we can move forward like other places.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to the ordinary Ghanaian youth today?
Yes. What I want to tell our youth is that wherever you are, whatever level of education you have, please start thinking about your situation in relation to what is going on in Ghana, in relation to the kind of governance that you have, in relation to the kind of economy that we are in. Start making those choices that affect you. Don't be looking at Kwame Kojo and saying, oh, he said so, I'm following him. Think about how it affects you. When we were given independence in this country, the Ghana flag went up, and the British flag came down. Did we ask what kind of government is suitable for us? We simply assumed that the Queen's Parliament was good for us, and we adopted it. It is now time. That was at independence. Yeah. Things have passed on. Fine. We have made some progress, but not as much as we should have made. Yeah. We have not left primary school. Those people who started with us, some have now even graduated from university. Yeah. So boasting about being in class 3 and this one is in class 2 is neither here nor there. If we want to make progress and take those quantum leaps, we have to get our generation of people thinking. We have to get our young people to come out of their comfort zone. Nobody grows by staying within their comfort zone. you have to meet challenges. And the world is not a fair place, unfortunately. But you can make it fairer for yourself if you apply yourself.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abu Sakara Foster. And Albert, sadly we have to end our conversation because of time. But after Saturday's event, we have to find time, sit down, and make sure we talk about all these issues so that the youth can understand what we need to do now.
Yeah, and I wanted to add just a minute, just some few sentences in addition to what Professor Abu Sakara had said. We need to, as a nation.
Professor.
I always call the doctors, I call them professors.
Okay.
Yeah. As a country, in summary, as a country, we need to first recognize that we have a problem. Okay, and make concerted efforts to remediating the problem for the betterment of the generation coming. China was not like this. Now, in the Asia, in the 1960s, in the 1960s, the per capita income of South Korea and Ghana were almost the same. Now, by the year 2015, the per capita income of South Korea had gotten to more than $25,000. By that time, Ghana is almost at $2,000. Now, ironically, between that period, Ghana received official development aid more than what Korea received between that period. So what went wrong? It is because we have not had people who put the heart or who put the nation at heart, and it needs to begin from the younger generation coming, that the country is yours, and nobody will do it for us. The old people will die and go, but we will come. And if this is the time for us to take side, and we need, when you are taking side, Joshua, that was Moses or Joshua, but said, choose for yourself this day where you belong. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. The youth should choose for themselves where they will belong at this critical stage, because the decision they make can make and also make their future.
And they should belong to Ghana first.
And they should belong to Ghana first. Thank you so much.
You heard me talk to Dr. Abu Sakara Foster. He was a vice presidential candidate in 2008, and in 2012 he was a presidential candidate. He's now with the National Interest Movement, all in the interest of Mother Ghana. So you heard him say Ghana first. And Albert AK Mensah, the Chief Executive Officer of CEPSA Africa, is a PhD student in Germany. You heard us talking about building a prosperous society for all. We will have to continue this conversation some other time. We are going for a quick commercial break. After that, we'll be doing entertainment on Homebase Television.
So thank you very much, RSM Kofi Larson. That is very, very good and nice interview. I was here for I do so no yebeye enigidie and ensem na Dr. Nasi yatena se de anum se enigi sema so ebepie. Na otwemi enu bi atwa mu yesua asaba ko awko agbema ma framantem wo mo sara ho papa no na ya agbaja ene yebepie mu e won kran so. Na nkranfo so asaba ko wo mo sa obia energy papa enya agro na eya sa che se oba Ghana ha ya go bebre ato mbo asese bi ye de sisisa yesa kosoro ne yesa eba form eza so kire odo dankra fa mambre edi bebre pa kan na kankra ha no mota sasa no eno ye fere pa logo ba de de ukọ me bebre asa pa logo asa no wo mo sa no ho ye ko
wo bi da ansina
ba hu bi da na hu kwa mfa so sa pa logo asa na pa na hu be ya se bia eda form pa
na wa wonim sa
ye ko he no mransa
sa nem so wonim sa
me ya no za na me sa we mu de ni bi wa
como se no kwa ko na mi sa se
oh
wonim sa
me anu minim sa bebre minim sa asa na bebre but me ya de
na asa ko hu da na wonim sa no wo ya de se
me ya me ma fa mu de sa de bu a wonim ye but kakra na abaye no se so ni pe
enti no ubetima sabi
Manu go no ntisa agbaja no.
Agbaja di palu go nyina se de ahode na esa.
Agbaja ni different. Nsa agbaja ni motu emu bo.
Ya go hemra de.
Agbaja for you where your pan go the other day no you share agbaja where your pan go no sanity beautiful dance by our standard K and the asanele no
and then also bro for papa palo bro for it ase palo go le ya
agbaja is you know about where what you want to say bakuno what you papa we won sane won na utubu
I'm telling you
I see page na me no now we say obese say won so
be physical we say e bibrem han me yen enigedie bia no ye ne ahodim mu eni bibia
ya mamre ni nti ya say na ya hodim mu next week ye beko Asante Mantem.
Okay.
Ya ko hesa ni adwa no so tie.
Eno so se nya bete.
Eno so ye chechire boso, eno so nya saketo. Nya saketo akọ.
Na nanu amampani edi dwuma bi wo ye we ambulance yi. Ahun maya no
mesa na o mo sa adwa no me ye fe. Na me ka kira doma. Me Asante Pasa. Odumi.
Nzo mo sa no.
Na me ka say ya chechire bo o ma chikura no ukra so ahwe abetena ase. E be twum sisi fo. Ye bo na chi wo kra dudu sa no. E ya de ketwa.
Na breve my kwan na anwumre we na ye de Dr. Kesia se Kasia no esi ebre nti ya ye de bremu eye Kofi Dolos ne ye poto kakra etoda na ya da na ehu esanse Dr. na se de kasa bia bebebia wo se ye de ho ne ye de ye kankran ba ye girem anwura ba ye girem latte ba ye girem na fe zima ba ye girem te ne Dr. Abu Sakara de brofo ba ene ye girem a anochi ene brofo sam abasa no ya fra me Kofi Dolos minimini abema
amode she ba ya anochi